Well, the rival Palestinian factions, Hamas and Fatah, are trying to resolve their differences in Moscow. Ahead of the visit, the PA's caretaker foreign minister, Riyad al-Maliki, said he didn't expect miracles. So why is Russia hosting the talks? Here with us now, Izabella Tabarovsky is a senior advisor at the Kennan Institute at the Wilson Center and a fellow at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs. Thank you very much for being with us, Izabella. And we've just marked, haven't we, 2 years since Russia chose to invade Ukraine. Why does President Putin feel it's necessary to host Palestinians in Moscow now for talks?
Well, October 7th was really a big gift to Putin. If anybody benefited from this terrible event, it was Russia. It distracted attention from Putin's disastrous war in Ukraine. It allowed him to position himself, to kind of exit his position as a pariah, which he had been pushed into as a result of the war. And Hamas, of course, has been a frequent visitor in Moscow. Russia does not classify Hamas as a terrorist organization. Relations with Abu Mazen go back all the way to the Cold War, to the 1980s, when he defended his dissertation in Moscow. So for Russia, it was really an opportunity to move on to something else and to position itself as in a new status and return to the status of a player in the Middle East. It considers the Middle East to be its sphere of influence. Russia's first calls in the wake of October 7th were to everyone but Netanyahu. Netanyahu got the call only 8 days later. So there were all kinds of reasons for Russia to kind of move into this sphere so that attention could be drawn away from what was happening in Ukraine.
Well, the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, there are many countries, aren't there, with a stake in who takes over in Gaza once and if Hamas is destroyed. Where does Russia stand?
Well, look, Russia, of course, the stated goal of this meeting is the reunification of various Palestinian factions. I don't think that Russia believes that that is an achievable goal. I think, once again, Russia is positioning itself in opposition to the United States. It's now positioning itself as a leader of an anti-Western bloc that has been kind of trying to build and to head, right, a bloc that's based on what was known as BRICS. Putin said right after October 7th that the crisis was the result of American failed policy, America attempting to monopolize the solution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So for Russia, it's an opportunity to upstage the United States. If you remember also, in the wake, during the first hostage release, Hamas released one person who was the only male who was 25 years old, military age. They said that it was a gift to Putin. So it's an opportunity for Russia to upstage the West, to upstage the United States.
And does Putin have any leverage with the Palestinian factions? Could he be the one to push Hamas towards accepting some sort of hostage release deal with Israel?
Well, it's a really interesting question. There are three Russian citizens. They may be dual citizens, I'm not sure, but we know there are 3 people who hold Russian citizenship in the hands of Hamas. If anything, perhaps there could be a release of those people. And if that happens, then that certainly would be a very big gift to Putin. What are the levers of influence? I think we have to remember that Russia has a relationship with Iran that's deepening. Iran is supplying Russia with military equipment, and in general, the relationship is deepening. There were reports that there were some senior representatives of Iran right now in Moscow, perhaps as being part of the meetings. So perhaps there is some kind of a multilateral deal going on. It's hard to imagine that Russia has a very strong leverage over Hamas in terms of having a massive release of hostages. But perhaps it's a question that perhaps another quote-unquote gift release of 1 or 2 people could happen.
Izabella Tabarovsky, thank you very much.
Thank you.